God is never wasteful. He is endlessly creative in the ways that He speaks to us, catches our attention, and invites us to relationship. And sometimes that invitation might just look like a penny on the sidewalk. Hey there, friend. Welcome to Beneath the Fig Tree. I'm Rose, and I am so glad you're here. Like, really a lot. And can I tell you something? We all know that reading the Bible and praying are so important. They're actually non-negotiable. But I also think that there's so much more to a great devotional life than the, quote, perfect quiet time that we've all been taught about. I want to give you permission to lay down the guilt and the shame about what your devotional life looks like compared to what you think it should look like, and discover how you best relate with God so that you can cultivate a devotional life that you love and you look forward to. So around here, I'll share loads of inspiration, lots of tools, and tons of encouragement to help you cultivate the kind of meaningful relationship with God that you've always longed for, but maybe you just didn't know how to make it happen. So if you're ready to breathe new life into your devotional journey, grab a cup of friend and let's chat. Have you ever walked past a penny on the ground and not given it a second thought? Maybe you've heard that old rhyme, find a penny, pick it up, and then all day you'll have good luck. For many, a penny isn't worth bending down to pick up. It's small, forgotten, discarded, tossed aside without a second thought. But what if I told you that every penny or any coin that you find could be a small invitation to connect with God? So years ago, God gave me this really simple but so powerful way to just turn these tiny moments into conversations with Him. And so it started as just this small habit. And before I knew it, it became one of my favorite ways to just weave prayer into my everyday life. So I actually mentioned this briefly in my conversation with Cara Blondo back in episode 30 when we were just talking about creative ways to nurture your devotional life. But after that, I knew that I actually wanted to dedicate a full episode just to this idea because penny jar prayers are such a fun and meaningful way to just stay connected with God throughout the day. So here's how these whole penny jar prayers got started. A few years ago, I just decided that every time I found a penny on the ground, it would be a simple spark, just a gentle nudge to pray. So instead of luck, I actually saw it as an invitation, a whisper from God. So I just made the habit of every time I would pick up a penny or a coin or whatever it was, I would just look up and pray for whoever I saw as soon as I found the penny. And it didn't matter whether I knew him or not. I could just, a super simple breath prayer of blessing. But then later, I added another layer. So when I found the penny or the coin on the ground, I would actually stop and check the year on it. And if it had my birth year, then I just considered it a love note from God. Kind of His way of saying, I see you, I'm thinking of you, and I love you. But if it had Brandon's or Dakota's birth year, that's my husband and son if you're new here, I'd actually just pause and say a prayer for them. But if it was another year, then I would just think about something or someone significant from that time and pray accordingly. So over time, this practice turned into something more. I started keeping the coins in a jar, and it was just a fun, tangible reminder of moments that I've spent in prayer. And so now, years later, that jar is actually more than just a collection of coins. It's a collection of prayers. It's a testimony that nothing is wasted, not even the smallest, most forgotten things, not even pennies. So let's talk about what the penny jar prayers are. Well, it's really simple. When you find a coin, you can do one of two things. You can look up and pray for the first person that you see, or you can look at the year and thank God for something or someone significant from that time. And then you can add that coin to a jar. as a visual representation of all the moments that you've spent in prayer. And then over time, this jar becomes an Ebenezer, a reminder of God's presence that's woven into the ordinary moments of your life. And when your jar is full, don't stop there. Ask God who you can sow these prayers into. So maybe it's a single mom that's in need of a little extra help, or a ministry that you love, or a young person that's chasing their dreams. Let your jar of prayers become an offering, a tangible way to bless someone else. So this may seem like kind of a silly little thing, but the thing is, it makes prayer a habit. Because sometimes we struggle to remember to pray throughout the day. But penny jar prayers turn prayer into second nature. So you find a coin, you pray, it's that simple. But it also has a sense of fun and wonder to these conversations with God, because this practice makes prayer feel like a treasure hunt. It invites us to stay open, expectant, and curious, watching for the little ways that God might be speaking to us. It also creates just a tangible reminder of our spiritual growth. Because as the jar fills up, it becomes a testimony, a physical reminder of the prayers that you've whispered, the gratitude that you've expressed, and the ways that you've turned your heart toward God. Because a lot of times our spiritual life has no physical way to measure, but this is just a fun little way to remind us. But it also teaches us to give what we gathered. So when your jar is full, it doesn't have to sit on a shelf. It can, but it can also keep doing God's work. Those pennies, nickels, or quarters collected in moments of prayer can now become a gift, an answer to someone else's need. Prayer doesn't just stay in our hearts. It moves outward, into action, into love. Nothing is wasted in God's hands. Not a prayer, not a moment, not even a discarded penny. So here, my friend, is the penny jar prayers challenge for you. It's a bit of a mouthful. But this week, I would invite you just to start your own penny jar prayers. Keep an eye out for coins, and when you find one, just pause and pray. Either look up and pray for the first person that you see, or look at the year on it and thank God for something or someone from that year. And then find a jar where you can collect them, and it doesn't have to be anything special. Just a simple place to hold these little moments of prayer. Or if you'd like, you can actually take a few minutes and decorate your own jar, making it just a really fun and pretty intentional reminder of what it represents. Let the process of creating the jar actually become a conversation with God. And every time you see it, let it nudge you to gratitude, to pause, and to thank Him for the prayers that He's already answered, and for those that are still unfolding in His perfect time. And then at the end of, some period of time, probably won't be a lot in a week, but at the end of some period, then you can just choose to make time to reflect. How has this simple practice drawn you into prayer in unexpected ways? And then remember, when your jar is full, to ask God where to sow those prayers that you've gathered. Give those coins to somebody else who needs them, or use them to buy somebody a cup of coffee. But let them be a blessing beyond yourself. And I mentioned that these penny prayers kind of started out as a simple spark. And so the thing is, anything can be a simple spark. I first introduced penny jar prayers in my 10-day do something challenge back in episode 10 as something that I call simple sparks. Just small everyday things that can nudge us to prayer. So anything can serve as a gentle invitation to turn your heart toward God. And if you'd like more ideas on that, then go check out that episode. I'll drop it in the show notes for you too. But God is never wasteful. He is endlessly creative in the ways that He speaks to us, in the ways that He catches our attention, and in the ways that He invites us to relationship. And sometimes that invitation might just look like a penny on the sidewalk. So let's cultivate a devotional life you love, like really love and actually look forward to. Because, friend, it is possible, and it is so much easier than you think. Chat soon, friend.